Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation YouTube channel. Today, we are very fortunate to have Jonathan Miller with us, who is the inventor, designer, owner, and president of InStep Mobility, which is the company that we are familiar with making the U-Step walker, which is a neurological specific to neurologic disorders, an assisted device. And so welcome, Jonathan. We
Thank
appreciate your
you.
time. I'm
I
just
appreciate it.
wondering if you could give us a little bit of the history with the U-Step walker.
Sure. About 35 years ago, when I was a young man, my mother had started to have walking issues due to a neurological condition. She didn't have Parkinson's. She had something called Charcot-Marie-Tooth. But nonetheless, it at the age of about 60, she started to lose her balance, her independence, and she at that point she did reach out to medical professionals, to physiatrists, to physical therapists, to who might be able to help her, orthotists, and she went to all the right places and to all the right people, but with all the interventions, she still wasn't doing well. And I noticed it. It's not my field. It's not what I was trained for. But I'm her son, and I saw this wasn't going well. So at that point, I took an interest. So she had 10 weeks of therapy. She had a walker. She had leg braces, and she was just not doing well. And so they basically said to her, the one of the doctors said, well, we can get you a scooter. And she was able to propel herself. Her balance was very poor. So at that point, I come from a family of engineers. I figured, why don't I try to develop something that would work for her? I saw how she did well holding onto a wall or holding onto someone's arm. And so I thought about it and I said, how could we make a product that approximates that type of stability? And that's how I came up with the U-Step. The U-Step has a U-shaped base that surrounds you, and it's pretty much weighted at the bottom. 75% of the weight is in the base, and that provides a lot of stability, and it's excellent at preventing falls. And so that with that U-Step, she was able to stay up and walking for an additional 12 years.
Wow. So what a great result from your inspiration that you had to help your mother. So I'm just curious because she didn't have Parkinson's disease, but she did have some mobility issues. How did you make the leap to going from what condition your mom had to really getting into the Parkinson's market?
So after designing it, my mother's doctor, Dr. Weiss, he said to me, "This product could help a lot of people." And at that point, the light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe I should pursue this." I always did want to get into a business, so I went to the local major rehab centers in the Chicago area. We have the Rehab Institute of Chicago. I went to Lutheran General. I went to Evanston Hospital. And I had meetings with teams of physical therapists, and I showed them the walker. And what was interesting is they gave a lot of good feedback on how it could be even better. And it kept coming up, boy, this would be good for my Parkinson's patients. And they saw it right away. So you hear it enough times, you say, well, maybe we should try that. And then, anyways, and then there was a major movement disorders doctor in Chicago named Michael Rizak. And somehow, some way, he found out about the product and he started to prescribe it like crazy for his Parkinson's patients. And then we had an article written about our product in one of the newsletters for Parkinson's. It was a national newsletter. And at that point, some people purchased it. And then it got the attention of Abraham Lieberman, who was the head of the National Parkinson's Foundation at the time. And he had this patient walked in who hadn't been doing well with her mobility, and she walked in like a different person, and he was just blown away. So they contacted my office and said, "Send me 100 brochures." And that was the beginning of focusing just on Parkinson's, is because it clearly has advantages or features that really address the needs of people with Parkinson's. The three advantages, or why it works so well for Parkinson's, is the first one, which is stability. So it's excellent at preventing the falls, common with Parkinson's. Two, it turns in a small area. It's highly maneuverable, turns in 2.5 feet versus other rolling walkers, which you need more room for, 4 to 5 feet, because most rolling walkers were designed for outdoor use. And then also it has two control features where it puts you in control, where it doesn't get away from you. The biggest issue with rolling walkers for many people is they just get away from them. So the U-Step addresses those issues with a reverse brake where it doesn't roll until you start, and also the tension control where you could dial up resistance so that you can adjust how easily it rolls. And with those features, it's excellent for people with Parkinson's. So
I agree with you. I've been in working with Parkinson's people for over 30 years, and the amount of independence that I've seen extended as they're going through this disease has been remarkable. So for people just joining in, I'm here with Jonathan Miller from InStep Mobility. He is the creator, inventor, designer, owner, president of the U-Step Walker. And many people, it is surprising to me still, some people who have never heard of it. And perhaps you just stated the biggest difference between other walkers and this walker and the needs of people with Parkinson's to be able to get into small spaces and be able to turn around and feel confident and not fall. Um, and I think the biggest unique design with this is the weight on the bottom of the walker that prevents you from flipping over with an aluminum walker. Would you agree?
I agree with you. That is the major advantage of it. We don't refer to the U-Step as a walker. We actually, in our brochure, we call it a walking stabilizer. The reason we did that was it's just so much more stable than other walkers. Most walkers, the weight of them is distributed equally going up. It isn't bottom weighted. The U-Step, because it has the U-shaped frame at the bottom, and it's a light gauge steel. It's not a heavy steel, but it's still steel. And the tubes up on the top are actually aluminum. So we wanted to put the weight at the base to keep people from falling. I remember we had a movement disorders specialist from Massachusetts, Dr. Paula Ravin, and we were talking about possibly lightening up the product for transport. And she says, "Please don't do that." She says, "My patients need the weight of the U-Step. The U-Step weighs about 23 pounds." And so she said, so it's not an advantage for people with balance issues to have a product that's so convenient to transport. There's nothing I used to joke. There's nothing less convenient than falling. So preventing the fall is key. So to the extent at which it's a little less easy to transport at 23 pounds, it's more important that we stop the falls. That's
I
it.
agree with that. Safety first. I agree. So I'm just wondering, have you noticed that this particular walker is helpful for people who have freezing of gait? And how is it beneficial? Or for that stutter step? Would you like to explain a little bit about the features there?
Sure. Well, one, the U-Step in itself helps reduce freezing just by itself, because it's what some neurologists have explained to me. It's a physical cue, it's something solid to hold on to. But when we did it, we actually conducted a survey. We sent out a survey to many of our customers, And we found out that although the U-step was excellent at preventing falls, like 90+% said it helped prevent their falls or they stopped falling with the U-step, about 60% said the U-step reduced or stopped their freezing. So relatively, that's low to stopping the fall. So at that point, we looked into how do we address the freezing issue. And I remember I was meeting at University of Pennsylvania, and there was a woman named Jane Wright. She ran the information and referral center there, and she worked with Dr. Stern and Dr. Hertig. These are well-known movement disorder specialists. Anyways, she brought up the idea of using a laser to help reduce freezing, and it was actually one of the ideas of one of the doctors. But they're neurologists are busy with their seeing patients and whatnot, and I looked into it more, and I ended up working on a design to add to the U-Step queuing module. At that point, it was just a laser where you push a button at the handle and it projects a laser on the floor in front of the person. It has to be close to the individual to be effective. And that helped reduce freezing. Then when we asked people, the much higher percent said, yes, it helped reduce their freezing. So we addressed the freezing with our queuing module. We have since upgraded it, and now we also have an auditory cue built in, similar to a metronome. And so you could use both or one, but it's really helpful to reduce freezing. So the U-step in itself, the fact that it's so stable helps reduce freezing, but using the um, the accessory queuing module is also extremely helpful for reducing freezing.
Yes, I also want to give you a nod to that as well, because I know many people respond differently, whether it's an auditory command or a visual command. And so I think it's an excellent, witnessed how well it works. So I think it was brilliant. Um, I know that a common question that comes up many times are, at what stage do I need to have a walker? And that's a very hard answer because everybody is so individualized. But I have found oftentimes, particularly if our constituents are not seeing a movement disorder specialist, that oftentimes they will refer them to a walker and give them a script, and they end up going to Walgreens or CVS or something and getting a lightweight aluminum one. And they use their benefits, their insurance benefits. And that really puts a halt to anybody getting this covered through their insurance for about 5 years if they're on Medicare, I believe.
That's a
So,
very good point. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. So one of the things that we do here at the foundation, we do a lot of education. I'm the director of education. And right off the bat, even with newly diagnosed people, I introduce the U-Step Walker because there's nothing more frustrating than seeing a tool that could possibly help you and your hands are tied for 5 years because you didn't know about it. Do you have
Right.
any advice for anyone?
Well,
You know,
what you said, I wish everyone did that. I wish everyone would educate people who are at some point going to need a walker that Medicare's policy is they will only buy a walker every 5 years for an individual. So if even if you bought a very basic walker that Medicare paid for, they're not going to cover a more advanced walker, even if you need it, even though you've progressed, even though your walking has gotten worse. They don't. So it's very important that that neurology offices, support groups, that they educate people on this. Many people with Parkinson's, they have their off periods. So I think that's when a lot of people start using a walker, especially at night when maybe they're off their meds. So maybe they'll start using it in their home. One of the things we run into is people wait too long to get the walker, not only because of reimbursement, but also there is a certain learning curve on a product like ours. For example, our braking system, our walker doesn't roll till you squeeze a handbrake. So you have to remember to squeeze the handbrake to go. If you are having some mental issues, some people have a harder time learning how to use it. So you're better off getting it a little bit earlier than later before those
Oh, I agree.
provisions can pop up.
Yeah, they're like training their brain, very similar to incorporating exercise or speech therapy, just making it a habit and making it a habit on how to use the walker. I agree. I think, there's a certain amount of, one would think denial that I don't need a walker. I'm not going to think about this. I don't need to think about it. And you may not, but having the information available, so when you do need it, I think is key. Um, so can you tell us approximately how much this walker is and what, I know insurances will vary on what they cover, but anything you can add there for us?
Yeah, they run a little bit over $600 a use step. Insurance covers about 65%, like Medicare would cover about 65% of the use step. Um, Private insurances, it runs the gamut. Some is less, some is more. Some of the healthcare organizations, like the HMOs, aren't very good about coverage. And we do run into that in Michigan. Um, we as a company, if you buy it from us directly, we are a Medicare provider across the country, is we will offer a 20% discount on our product if you can't get it through insurance. And also, we work with foundations. We work with multiple Parkinson's foundations that when money is an issue, that they often will cover the product for people. So money should never be the reason why you can't get a used step. That's
Yes, I agree. We have a pretty robust loan closet here at the Michigan Parkinson's
wonderful.
Foundation, and specifically for people who are in that 5-year jam, or maybe they just want to test it out before they make that investment.
That's
Um,
excellent.
yeah, it's really worked out well. Can you tell us about any other devices that you may have that might benefit our Parkinson's community?
So there is a subset of people with Parkinson's who don't have as major of a balance issue, but they start freezing. So we developed a product called the laser cane, and it's basically it's a cane where when you put it down on the ground, it projects a red line on the floor with a laser, and that helps people uh, with their freezing. Um, the only thing is many people, when they start freezing, it's in the latter stages of Parkinson's, the third and fourth stage of Parkinson's. But for the people who start freezing early, we do make the laser cane. We also make just an add-on to any cane that's an average width, diameter cane, where you could just attach to your cane this module. Actually, we call it the Michael J. Fox module. He was the one who was in touch with us, and we developed it for him. Actually, I developed it for him, and so that's an option also. So
Yeah,
that's
that's wonderful. Well, I love the fact that it's as if our whole Parkinson's community is coming together to really benefit all people that are struggling with this disease. I know early on you mentioned that you were in touch with movement disorder specialists and physical therapists. I've also seen some physical therapists say, bring your walker into us at one of your appointments so we can work with that. So they really can learn all the bells and whistles that adjust to height, that the braking system adjusts, or things like that. Have you had much feedback from physical therapists?
Uh, physical therapists, they love the product. I mean, most physical therapists appreciate the having the use step for their Parkinson's patients as well as others with severe walking disorders. There was a specialist who went around the country teaching about Parkinson's therapy. Her name was Dorian Brown, and it's also the name of a famous author. But anyways, she gave all these presentations around the country, and a part of her presentation was about the U-step when she was teaching about Parkinson's. And we would get calls from all these therapists from all over the country. Yeah, I just went to a presentation from Dorian Brown, and she talked about the U-step. We wanted to find out more. We didn't even know who Dorian Brown was. But then I finally tracked her down, and she says, "Oh, I love your product. It's a part of my presentation." She says, "All these other walkers need to be thrown in the garbage and their designers thrown in jail." That's how passionate she was about the youth stuff. But no, we work with thousands of physical therapists and probably almost 1,000 movement disorder specialists or Parkinson's specialists throughout the country. So we do work with a lot of people. Nonetheless, there's still a lot of people who aren't aware of the use step. So
Yes.
it's our mission. We try to get the word out. So sometimes it's actually through individuals who go to see their doctor and says, "Hey, have you seen this product? I heard it's really good." And if they contact us, we often provide them with samples. So,
Yes, I will say, working with InStep Mobility, as long as I have worked with them, I think your company has been wonderful. They've been very responsive. I'm going to give a shout out to Mitch because I've known him for a very long time. He's been very helpful to us.
good.
So I think it's great, and I too am in that fan club of this walker. My father was diagnosed with Parkinson's when he was 36 years old, and he
Wow.
had it until he was 78 years old. And the U step was just another part of our house, it was always there. And then I will share that when my dad passed away, my mom ended up having ended up being a bad hip replacement. And that U-step walker was so helpful. It gave her the security and the confidence to get up and to walk. So that's my personal story. Is there any kind of inspirational message that you would give to anyone, the Parkinson's community, about what the walker can do for them?
Just the use step is excellent at at getting you to stay independent, of getting you up and walking a lot more, of not being afraid of falling. I think, there's we spoke before about when is the time to get a U step or a walker. Look, if you're falling or you're almost falling, if you're limiting your walking because you're afraid of falling, that's time. It's time to really say, uh, you know, I, I still call the shots. I'm my own person. If I need a mobility aid so that I could just be more active and do family things and go out and be with friends, so be it. My mother said that once. I remember she said, I still call the shots. I remember she said that to me. She says, "Okay, so I use a walker. It's no big deal." And she just wanted to be active and she just she didn't let it get her down. I think that, one thing interesting about Parkinson's, I know your dad got it, had early onset, but most people get it as is more older and more senior people. And I was thinking that Parkinson's, it's a tough challenge. Everyone knows that. Anyone who knows has been around it. I mean, I've been around it for over 30 years, so I know, I know. I remember I read Michael J. Fox's book about his experience, and he expressed it so well, so he could really, on an individual level, understand the challenges. But Michael J. Fox was an optimist, and Michael J. Fox didn't let it get him down. When I was in college, I had a roommate teach me the Latin phrase "illegitimi non carborundum," which means don't let the bastards get you down. Don't let Parkinson's get you down.
Right.
Yes, it's a challenge. It's a big challenge, and don't no one's dismissing that. But
Yeah.
um, you have a life to live, and I think that with foundations such as yours, the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation, with the amazing doctors and therapists out there who are in it for all the right reasons. I find that neurologists are often in it for all the right reasons, and not in all fields. I find that in medicine.
Right.
And I feel that companies like us, I mean, I have a personal um, um, and feeling about it because of my own mother. So a lot of people go into a field because they want to help. They see a need and they want to make a difference. And I I love what I do. I really love helping people, and we treat people with tremendous respect. I always tell my employees, treat our customers like your own parents, treat them. And I think that that resonates. People get that. People feel that when they deal with us. So, uh, and so people who are seniors, they've done a tremendous amount in life. They should be proud of what they've done, and they shouldn't let the Parkinson's stop them from living their life. That's what I
They
feel.
got to live, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I have a little mantra I say all the time that Parkinson's is a crappy card to be dealt, but it's how you play the hand that matters.
That's beautiful.
And yeah, and you need the tools and you need the education. So I love that. One last thing before I let you go, and thank you so much for
Thank you.
spending the time with us. We will link a little video about the use step as well. For anybody who is interested in getting a use step, what is the process? They get
Well,
a prescription or
they're welcome to contact us. Where we have an 800 number, we have a website. You can find out all the information. We pride ourselves in customer service, that we will spend as much time as you need on the phone to answer any questions you have. But ultimately, to get coverage on your product, you can buy a U-Step, with a credit card, but it's actually for getting coverage. We will involve the doctor's office, but often if you contact us, we will send a request to your doctor, whether it's generally a neurologist, and we will request a prescription. Or often neurologists just prescribe it. They have a patient who says, comes in and they say, you would benefit from a U step. So it kind of goes both ways, but it's it's good to get us involved, because if it's a doctor who isn't familiar with our product and you say write a prescription for a U-step, they're not going to know what to write. There is some information that's critical for Medicare, and so it's better just to contact us, and we will contact your doctor for you. Um,
and then you will work the back end to see about benefits, if it's covered, if they're eligible. Do you submit the claim?
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
and
Exactly.
then
We will
and then
look
you deliver
into
it.
their coverage. We will look into, for any reason they aren't going to get covered. We have software programs that we work with that will inform us about the insurance situation of every individual who contacts us. And then, yes, we will work with the doctor's office, get a proper prescription. We will submit the claim. Medicare reimburses in about 30 days. So they're very good about that. Actually, it used to take a lot longer. They reimburse within 30 days. There's a 2-week trial with the U-Step. So if anyone just orders one without even having an opportunity of trying it, they could try it out for a few weeks in their own home and make sure they're happy with it. If not, they can return it for a full refund. So, but it's best to contact us and with any questions you have, and we're happy to discuss it with you. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Gosh, Jonathan, thank you so much. And thank you to your mom for giving you the inspiration to help so many people with Parkinson's and give them that quality of life and independence. So important and to be safe. So we
It takes
thank
a
you.
community, right?
Yes, for sure. It does.
So,
Well,
yeah,
thanks for being a great partner. And
my pleasure, and thank you. You've always been great to work with. The foundation, the Michigan Parkinson's Foundation, has been a great. It's one of the best ones we've worked with throughout the country. So you guys do a great job.
Oh, thank you. We love to hear that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Okay, so for our viewers, more information is going to be linked below.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much.